If you have been praying, working, giving, and still watching money slip through your hands, stay with me because what you are about to hear can change the way you fight your financial battles forever. This is not just about trying harder. It is not just about budgeting better. It is not just about waiting and hoping that one day things will somehow turn around. There is a spiritual side to provision that many people never truly learn, and because they do not understand it, they live below what has already been made available to them. What if the problem is not only what is happening around you, but also what has been coming out of your mouth? What if your words have been opening the wrong doors while your faith has been asking for something greater? And what if heaven has already been ready to move, but has been waiting for you to come into agreement with what God has already said? Watch until the end because this message builds step by step, and the final part is where everything comes together. If you have felt pressure, delay, lack, or invisible resistance around your finances, then this is for you. Tonight is the night to stop speaking fear, stop feeding doubt, and start activating a higher law. Something can shift, something can break, and it can begin with your words. The truth is simple, but it is powerful. God is not confused about your need. Heaven is not unaware of your struggle. Provision is not a mystery on God's side. The real issue is that many people ask for help, then spend the rest of the day speaking against the very answer they prayed for. They pray one prayer of faith, then release 10 sentences of fear. They ask for supply, then confess shortage. They ask for open doors, then say nothing good ever happens for them. That is where the conflict begins. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your words are not small, not. Your words are not empty. Your words are setting direction. They are framing expectation. They are either building agreement with promise or building agreement with pressure. Think about it. God created with words. He spoke, and what was unseen became seen. So when you fill your mouth with the word of God, you are doing more than repeating a verse. You are giving voice to heaven's answer in the middle of earth's resistance. And yes, this matters deeply in the area of finances. Stop here and really catch this. Your wallet may look one way today, but your mouth should not take orders from your wallet. Your mouth must take orders from the word. That is where change begins, not after you see it, before you see it. Too many people live trapped in a cycle of reaction. Bills rise and they react with fear. Pressure grows and they react with panic. Delay shows up and they react with unbelief. But faith does not speak from the reaction. Faith speaks from the promise. Faith says, my needs are supplied even before the account changes. Faith says, God is my source, even when every visible source feels tight. Faith says, I believe I receive before there is any proof in the natural. This is where many miss it. They say they will believe when they see, but faith works in the opposite order. You believe first, you speak first, you thank first. Then, in time, what is unseen begins to show itself in the natural world. Stay with me, because this is where the battle is won or lost. If you keep speaking what you feel, you will stay tied to the feeling. If you keep speaking what you fear, you will keep feeding the fear. But if you speak what God has said again and again with steady conviction, your inner world begins to align, your expectation begins to rise, and the atmosphere around your life begins to change. This is not magic, it is agreement. It is choosing to let your mouth serve the promise instead of serving the problem. There is also another side that many people ignore. It is not enough to speak supply if you never resist what is trying to steal it. The enemy does not politely step aside on his own. Lack often does not leave because you are nice, sincere, or emotional. It must be resisted. You must take your stand. There are moments when prayer is not a cry of panic, it is a command of authority. You stop begging and start enforcing what has already been granted to you through the word. You say, no more. You will not keep stealing from my life. You will not keep choking my provision. You will not keep holding back what belongs to me. That kind of language may sound bold, but spiritual authority is meant to be used. If you never use it, it sits silent. If you never resist, the pressure keeps pressing. But when you stand on the word and resist the attack, something shifts. The enemy responds to authority backed by truth. This is why so many stay stuck. They keep asking God to do what God has already told them to do. They wait for heaven to move while heaven is waiting for them to rise, speak, and take their place. Hear this clearly. You are not called to tolerate endless robbery. You are not called to make peace with shortage. You are not called to accept every financial attack as if it were normal. There is a time to stand up and say, take your hands off what concerns my life. And then there is the part many have heard about, but few truly practice with confidence, the ministry of angels. Scripture describes them as ministering spirits sent to serve those who belong to God. They are not distant decorations, they are not passive background figures. They are active servants in the unseen realm. They move in response to the voice of God's word. That matters more than many realize. They do not move because of your fear. They do not move because of your complaining. They do not respond to panic. They respond to the word spoken in faith. So when your mouth begins to speak in agreement with God's promise, you are not just encouraging yourself, you are releasing heaven's order into the atmosphere around your life. You are giving the unseen realm something to work with. Think of how often people fill their homes with negative words. Nothing ever works. We never have enough. It always gets worse. I don't know how we will make it. Those words build an environment of defeat. But when a person begins to say, God is my source, my needs are supplied, every barrier is broken, every rightful provision is released, the atmosphere shifts. If you are still watching, this is the point where many people feel resistance because this truth demands discipline. But discipline in your mouth will produce power in your life. Now let's go deeper because this law is not just about one bold sentence spoken once in a while. It is about holding fast. That means staying steady when nothing has changed yet. It means refusing to let go of your confession just because time has passed. It means not starting strong on Monday and collapsing into fear by Wednesday. Many people begin in faith, but then they speak against their own harvest. They plant with one hand and dig up the seed with the other. They pray in the morning, then spend the rest of the day undoing it with doubt. That is why consistency matters. A farmer does not plant seed and then panic because he sees no crop the next morning. He understands process. He understands timing. He understands that unseen work is still work, and this is how faith must operate. Every declaration of trust is seed. Every act of thanksgiving is water. Every refusal to speak fear is protection around the field. You may not see movement at first, but that does not mean nothing is happening. Some of the most important changes begin where your eyes cannot measure them. Stay with me because this part is for the one who feels tired. Do not confuse delay with denial. Do not mistake silence for absence. Do not assume the law has stopped working just because the result has not arrived yet. Keep standing, keep speaking, keep thanking, keep resisting fear. The harvest belongs to those who do not faint. This is why your confession must become daily, not occasional. Faith is not a switch you flip one time and forget. It is more like breathing. It is continuous. It becomes part of how you answer pressure, how you face the morning, how you respond when anxiety knocks at the door. You wake up and you speak life. You face the bills and you speak promise. You look at the pressure and you answer it with truth. God is my source. I will not fear. My provision is coming. Every need is met. I will not speak lack over my own life. Simple words, strong words, repeated words. And over time, they do more than shape your expectation. They strengthen your heart. They steady your emotions. They guard your direction. They keep you from drifting into agreement with darkness. This is why careless speech is so dangerous. A person can pray sincerely and still sabotage the process with constant negative confession. That is why your tongue must be trained. Not perfect overnight, but trained. When fear tries to speak, interrupt it. When panic rises, answer it. When the old language of defeat returns, shut it down. You are not being fake. You are being intentional. You are choosing covenant language over crisis language. And yes, that choice matters more than most people know. If this is speaking to you, keep listening because the next part brings the whole flow together in a practical way. There is also the law of seed, time, and harvest. This is where many people want quick results but do not want process. Yet the pattern of the kingdom still works. What you sow matters. What you say matters. What you release matters. When you sow in faith, whether through generosity, obedience, service, or words filled with promise, you should expect a harvest, not in anxiety, in expectation, not in control, in trust. Some people give, then immediately talk as if they lost something forever. Others release seed with joy, then water that seed with gratitude and expectation. The difference is not just in the hand, it is in the heart and the mouth. Seed needs time, and time tests your confession. This is where patience becomes powerful. Patience is not passive, it is active steadiness. It is faith staying in position while time does its work. It is saying, I still believe after a week. I still believe after a month. I still believe when pressure tries to laugh at your words. And if you stay steady, the law will answer. Not because emotion forced it, because God is faithful. Here is a retention line you need to hear. Do not click away from this truth too early in your own life. Many people quit just before the breakthrough. They get tired just before the shift. They start calling it failure when the process is actually reaching maturity. Hold fast, protect the seed, refuse the language of defeat, and keep your expectation alive. But this message is not only about barely getting by. It is not only about surviving another month. The greater picture is abundance with purpose. God's plan is not just to help you breathe under pressure. It is to bring you into a place where you have enough and more than enough so you can become a blessing to others. This is where many people think too small. They ask only for rescue, never for overflow. They ask only for escape, never for influence. They ask only for enough to cover themselves, never for enough to help someone else. But divine provision is larger than survival. It is connected to assignment. It is connected to generosity. It is connected to good works. When supply increases, stewardship must rise with it. The goal is not greed. The goal is usefulness. The goal is not to worship money. The goal is to remove its power to control you so you can release it where it is needed with joy, wisdom, and freedom. This is why a person should not apologize for believing for abundance when that abundance is tied to purpose. A running over cup is not selfish when it is meant to spill into other lives. Catch that. Overflow is not only about comfort, it is about capacity. It is about becoming a channel instead of always feeling like a closed container under pressure. And yes, your words must rise to meet that vision too. So begin to speak bigger without becoming proud. Say, I always have what I need, and I have more to give. Say, I am blessed to be a blessing. Say, my life is not trapped in constant shortage. Say, every good thing assigned to me is finding its way into my hands at the right time. Those words are not arrogance, they are alignment. They are a refusal to make lack your identity. Many people have lived so long in survival mode that abundance feels uncomfortable even in thought. But if your mind cannot welcome increase, your mouth will keep pushing it away. That is why this shift must happen on the inside first. You must stop thinking of yourself as someone always behind, always blocked, always struggling, always just one step from disaster. That old frame has to break. You are not called to live with a permanent fear of provision. You are called to trust, speak, sow, stand, and receive. Slowly, firmly, repeatedly. And let me add this: abundance does not mean there will never be tests. It means tests no longer define your identity. Pressure may still come, but it does not get the final word. Delay may still happen, but it does not own the outcome. Resistance may still appear, but it cannot cancel what God has promised. This is why you must keep your language strong even while the process is unfolding, especially while it is unfolding. Now let's make this intensely practical. When fear rises, do not just sit there and let it talk. Answer it. When the bill looks impossible, do not start writing failure in your imagination. Answer it. When opportunities seem closed, do not agree with the appearance. Answer it. Your mouth must become a gatekeeper. It must decide what can stay and what must leave. If a thought says, you will always live like this, answer it. If pressure says there is no way out, answer it. If the enemy whispers nothing is changing, answer it. God is faithful. I believe I receive. My provision is on the way. Every attack against my finances is broken. I will not partner with fear. I will not feed lack with my own voice. Keep it simple. Keep it steady. Keep it daily. This is not about sounding religious. It is about refusing internal agreement with defeat. And there is something else. Thanksgiving matters. Thanksgiving is the sound of faith that has stopped waiting for visible proof before it rejoices. If you truly believe something is working, you thank God before the result is fully seen. Gratitude protects the heart from panic. Gratitude keeps expectation alive. Gratitude reminds your soul that heaven is not late. So mix your confession with thanks. Speak the promise, then thank God for it. Resist the attack, then thank God for victory. Call in the supply, then thank God that movement has begun even if you cannot measure it yet. Let me also add a fresh layer to this script because many people need it. Guard your environment. Words are powerful, but repeated atmosphere is powerful too. If every day you fill your ears with fear, your mouth will eventually echo that fear. If you constantly sit under voices of panic, cynicism, and hopelessness, your spirit will have to fight harder to stay steady. So build an atmosphere around your life that supports faith. Let truth be louder than pressure. Let gratitude be louder than anxiety. Let expectation be louder than old disappointment. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality become your master voice. Create habits that keep your heart alive. Speak in the morning before the day starts talking at you. Speak at night before worry tries to write stories in your mind. Speak when you feel strong. Speak when you feel weak. Speak when there is movement. Speak when everything still looks still. This is how you train your inner world to stay in agreement with heaven. And one more thing: do not let comparison poison your expectation. Someone else's timeline is not your instruction. Someone else's visible breakthrough is not proof that you were forgotten. Stay in your lane. Stay in your confession. Stay in your assignment. What is for you does not need panic to arrive. It needs faith, patience, and alignment. At this point, someone listening may be thinking, I have tried before, I spoke before, I believed before, but things did not change. If that is you, listen carefully. This is not the moment to quit. It may be the moment to refine. Maybe your words were strong for a day, but broken for the rest of the week. Maybe you asked in faith, but then entertained fear nonstop. Maybe you were sowing, but not holding fast. Maybe you were praying, but not resisting. Maybe you were believing for enough, but never truly saw yourself stepping into overflow with purpose. Do not condemn yourself. Just adjust, shift, return to alignment. There is grace for a fresh start. There is strength for a steady mouth. There is help for a tired heart, and sometimes the breakthrough begins the moment a person stops speaking two languages at once. No more faith on one side and fear on the other. No more prayer in 1 hour and defeat in the next. No more building and tearing down. Come into agreement. Become single in your confession. Let your words stop fighting each other. This is where maturity grows. This is where peace begins to replace strain. This is where your voice becomes clear, focused, and full of authority. And when that happens, your inner world changes first, then your outer world begins to follow. So tonight, make the decision. No more tolerating lack as if it were your permanent address. No more letting fear preach louder than promise. No more calling yourself stuck, forgotten, or destined to stay behind. Rise up in your spirit. Use your words with purpose. Say, God is my source. Every need in my life is met. I resist every attack against my provision. I refuse the language of fear. I refuse the language of defeat. I release the word of faith over my finances, my opportunities, my home, and my future. I hold fast. I do not waver. I will not quit before the harvest. I will not let go before the breakthrough. I believe for supply, and I believe for overflow. I receive enough for my needs and more than enough for my assignment. I am blessed to be a blessing. My mouth will agree with God. My heart will stay in faith. My expectation will remain alive. Say it slowly. Say it boldly. Say it until it feels stronger than the pressure. And as you keep standing, keep thanking, keep resisting, and keep speaking, what has been locked can open, what has been delayed can move, and what felt impossible can begin to flow. Hold on to that. The law is working when you work it. The word is alive when you speak it. Stay steady, stay expectant, and watch what begins to change.